All right, hi guys, my name's Coach Becca. I'm here with Erik. Erik, hi, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Erik, tell me a little bit about what you're currently working on in your marathoning career. You're a primary running, focus. Tell me a little bit about where you're at right now with your training.
Yeah, so I'm a distance and marathon runner, specifically for the half and full marathon. That's what I train for these days. My favorite is the half marathon, but I put myself through the ringer with the marathon quite a bit. So I actually just raced one in October, at the end of October, for a New York City virtual marathon. And now I'm just training in kind of my base phase, and in typically my first few weeks off after my season is over, I'm focusing on higher mileage and base mileage and a lot of strength so that I'm avoiding injury and feeling strong, and then also hitting a lot of hills. So trying to build in things with strength, and that's where you come in, because I'm not sure how to be able to nail the strength.
Right, and while I definitely don't have quite the running capabilities as you, give me a little bit of a brag moment here. I know you're humble, so I'll have to pull it out of you, but what's your 5K best, your half marathon best, and your marathon best, those three distances?
Yeah, sure. So 5K best is 15:59. I ran that this August, so by myself on a track, but pretty thrilled with that. And I brought my 5K time down from a 22-minute about 10 years ago, so I've been working on that for a while. And half marathon, and yeah, thank you. And half marathon I'm a little bit more new at, and I ran a 1:12:22. So that's my PR there a couple of Februarys ago. And then marathon best is 2:43. Still young in the marathon. I've ran only 4. So
that number in particular, I expect to really come down. I think as we age, that system really grows within us. But I think it's really relatable that you started with a 22-minute 5K. That's actually where a lot of my runners are currently at. I work with primarily triathletes, but a lot of my run athletes and triathletes, they're kind of in that 20 to 22-minute range. It's hard for them to break through it. So for somebody like you who's been working on it for, just within that decade range, that's a really realistic time frame for them to get, maybe not from 22 minutes down to 15:59, but to know it is possible in the endurance world. The more you work at something, the better you're going to get at it. So that's huge. So with that being said, my plan for Erik today is just to take him through some light mobility work, kind of see what's under the hood. I like to say, this is my first time working with Erik. We share a mutual coach. Susan Loken is actually how me and my husband met at one of her track practices. So out of a lot of respect for her and what she does with athletes, I felt like it was a great connection to get going here with Erik and kind of come along beside him how I can. So anytime a trainer looks at you for the first time, they should be doing things like what I'm going to do with Erik today. So if you haven't worked with a trainer before, these are movements that are safe to replicate. You really shouldn't, knock on wood, there's probably somebody out there that could hurt yourself by doing these first few things, but it just gives your coach or your trainer an idea of where you're at. So if you have a coach that hasn't done a baseline test with you of some kind, I'm sure Susan's had Erik do a 1 mile test and a 5K test. Those are examples of cardiovascular baseline tests. I'm going to be doing some baseline stability and mobility tests with Erik today, and then we're going to have a little fun. Because he's got a long run tomorrow, I'm not going to kill him. And that's the thing about endurance training, is that your strength program shouldn't put you at a deficit for your key sessions, the ones that matter. He's in a place where he can focus on strength training more and allow some gains to be made there. And he can afford himself a little more soreness than, say, when he's peaking for his marathon, in which case he won't be able to afford to do really hard strength training. That's where his strength training will shift to just all being making him feel really, really good. So today we'll work him a little bit more than what we would say 4 months from now. So that's just something for you guys to know there that are self-coached. That's just kind of some free advice there. It's some advice for Erik when he gets going in his regimen. We can work hard now, but again, your focus should shift. You should play around with intensities. So we're gonna get started with historic balance today. Both Erik and I are barefooted for an entire workout today. If you have any injuries and you're following along with any of the stuff that we do, and you feel like you need to have shoes on, say you have an arch support issue or fallen arch or just any kind of injury, feel free to do this workout with shoes on if you're more comfortable. So let's get started with historic balance. This one actually works a lot better if you are barefooted. I'll demonstrate the movements, and then Erik's gonna jump in with me. And if I need to stop in and help him out at all, I know he's gonna be a great sport about that, and just he's communicated he wants to embrace any type of cueing from me, and from what I've seen, he's already done a great job with that. So let's start off with historic balance. So it kind of is like what it sounds like. You're going to take the historic position. So I'll show you from the side. You're just gonna be barefooted. You're gonna place your instep on your thigh. And you can kind of hold on to something if you need balance there. But the reason I'm gonna show you from the side is because then you're gonna rise up onto your toes and hold as long as you can. And as you can see, it might last a few seconds, right? So you'll get a few tries at it. But practice first, always a practice. Roll up onto the toes and then try to hold as long as you can. But that's what you're looking at. So I'm gonna watch Erik do his now. All right, I'm gonna watch on that one. That was your practice, Erik. Let's see how you got. Ready? And go, good. Timing. That's okay. If you can make it to 10 seconds, it's a good goal. So he was around about 5 seconds. If your hands come off your hips or your foot comes off, that's where time technically stops. So he'll give him, you're supposed to allow 3 trials. So I'm gonna give him 1 more try on this side, Erik. Go ahead. Hands on hips, good. Time starts here. Breathe, breathe, good, good. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're going to give you 16, and that's on your left foot. 16 seconds, that's pretty darn good. And you can see how this is very specific to a runner, to these exact types of movements. So let's switch to the other side now. And again, get your practice in first. We want to set you up for success, so try some practice. I know my best is 11 seconds, so I'm not really the greatest here either. Okay. The trick is relaxing into it. So again, from the side, we're just up on the toe.
A little yoga today.
It's amazing how many muscles are in the bottom of your foot. Okay, I'm gonna time you here, Erik. Ready? Shake it out. Shake it out. Wiggles. Okay, whenever you're ready, I'll get your time.
Okay, go.
All right, time's on. Breathe, breathe, breathe.
Oh.
It's okay, you're at 8 seconds already. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's amazing. It's really common for one side to be stronger than another side, and you're pretty even. Usually I'll see like 2 seconds and 8 seconds, which is still relative to the time moving, that's a lot of difference. So that's really good that you're balanced there. Let's grab a circle band. Because I like to always work from the bottom up, we're gonna do a little ankle band mobility now. So we'll be on a this. Medium is yep. So this one isn't a movement test. This is just because we're working on the feet. That was an ankle stability screen. And now we're just gonna work on some ankle mobility. So with the band around your pinky toes, you're just gonna push into the band. And what you wanna do is isolate your ankles. You don't wanna let your hip do all the movement and move your whole leg. Try to just push into it without moving. Yep, there you go. Sometimes I'll say like a quiet knee, keep your knees quiet, make your feet more loud. Just push that pinky toe straight out. And about 12 repetitions is fine. We're only gonna do 1 set because this is really just kind of for some mobility and activation. So about 2 more. And then we'll switch sides. Good. All right, let's switch to the other side. Just working in that lateral plane of movement. Now you might not think that a runner will use this lateral movement much, but if you're somebody that has a pronation or supination issue, Erik, you've mentioned you had that before.
Yeah, supination.
Yeah, and I actually am the same way, which is kind of more rare to my knowledge, right? Most people pronate instead of supinate. So we're working some of those imbalances out by strengthening all the muscles in our ankle and feet. Let's do about 2 more. Good. All right, and now we'll do one of my favorites. What you're gonna do just to get your foot off the ground, I'm not sure if you've done this one before, Erik, so I'll help you out with it. You're just gonna cross one leg over the other. And then you're gonna have a light hold on to the band, kind of just in line with your calf. And you're gonna push at a diagonal down. So you're kind of pushing down into the side slightly. So your foot's going at a diagonal.
I can't see if I'm doing it right, is that?
Yep, down into, yeah, just like a diagonal line, yep.
Okay.
And that's just targeting kind of a unique muscle in your feet and in your kind of in front of your tibia, that big muscle that's right underneath your knee, or that big bone. So just down and to the side. We all know that our ankle can point and flex. We do that when we walk and when we run. So works that and a couple other special muscles there too. Let's do 2 more and then we'll switch sides. Looks good to me from here, Eric. Good job. Good. All right, let's switch sides here. Have you done that one before?
No, I've never done that.
Good.
That's good. I like that one.
I know we were joking about our black toes before this, and I'm looking right at my black big toe right now. It's a trademark for runners. So if you have some scary feet going on, you're a part of the club today.
I have my black middle toe on my right foot. Like it's just been black for 3 weeks.
So you're just waiting for the day when it falls off, probably, huh?
Oh man, it's super good right now, but who knows?
I actually think, I know this is disgusting, but I think mine's actually a blood blister beneath the surface. So I think that's why mine's black, because that's what it appears to be. And that, I think that was from when I did a 70.3 at home with my husband. It just never was the same after that.
A 70.3 at home?
Yeah, and he actually did a full Ironman at home on this treadmill. He did the marathon on this treadmill, so.
What?
I know. He's done 3 triple marathons this year.
That's amazing.
I know. He's a big treadmill guy. Good. All right, so we're gonna take this band and stand up with it now. Because we're using the band, I'm just gonna kind of do this one until we do our next movement screen. So you can hop up with me. We're gonna do this one because it's fun. It's one of my favorites. It's called a penguin walk. So you're gonna put it around your pinky toes again. And you're just gonna take really tiny steps, just like you're chopping your feet, really tiny steps, about shoulder width apart. And if your band gets all bunched up, you're taking too big of a step. So just make sure you lift your foot fully off the ground each time. And then just pretend you're a little penguin with its little egg or its little baby chick. Yep, and then you'll go backwards once you run out of space. And we're just doing this for time. I'm just doing this for 45 seconds. And you should feel this all in the sides of your legs, your AT bands, and some of those weaker glute muscles on the outsides of your hips there, which can go dormant on runners. Sometimes these muscles get really weak and we have to really wake them up with stuff like this. Stuff that we wouldn't do when we're running, but will help us be better at running. 15 more seconds. You feeling this one, Eric?
Oh yeah, this is hard.
Makes you have respect for penguins though, right?
Yeah, wobbling back and forth, that's right.
Yep. 3, 2, and 1. All right, very good. Actually, while the band's here, why don't we do a really run specific one? You were doing something like this yesterday and it kind of made me remember it. So I'll turn to the side so you can see. I'm gonna keep my feet shoulder width apart and I'm just gonna lift one foot up and get my arms in perfect run form. And then I'm gonna lift on the other side. And if you're somebody that pronates or supinates like Eric and I, now's a good time to think about not doing that. So you're gonna lift and try to keep your foot neutral and get your arm stride going. There you go, yep. For those of you that struggle to get the arm swing not going across your body, this is a good time to think about it too. Eye socket to hip pocket. There you go, perfect. And you almost wanna think about pulling your heel up to your butt.
Yep.
Get your hamstrings involved as well, the back of your legs. And again, we're just doing this for about 45 seconds. Great to do before a speed run because the minute you take this band off and go run, you're gonna feel like Usain Bolt.
Yeah, I think this is good for for hill workouts too, running form and just trying to get your body up straight, going up that hill, maintaining effort but not pace, right? And
yeah,
your body, as Susan always says. So I think it's great.
And can you feel your core even helping you out a little bit on this, Eric?
Okay.
Sometimes it helps to remember that that's the connector from your shoulder to your hip is your core.
And I think for me too, back is like the other thing is my posture is horrible. I slouch over when I stand a lot. And when I run. It's just trying to be upright and just.
Yeah. Especially in some of those speedier events too, right? Like that track 5K.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, let's get rid of this band now. We'll ditch that to the side. Now we should feel really loose. And again, since I'm a fan of working from the bottom up, we're kind of working ankles. The next one I have is an isometric trunk squat hold. So this one's great for stability purposes. and just looking if there's any dysfunction in or out. So what we're gonna do is cross our arms over our shoulders. We're just gonna let this non-weighted leg just gonna hold 90 degrees underneath of us. Take a deep breath in, and we're just gonna lower down and hold. It doesn't have to be a certain depth. There you go. Yep, that's perfect, Eric. And we're just holding for 30 seconds. And what we wanna see is if that knee is going this way or any kind of wobble like that. We wanna be as central as possible. And some inversion and eversion or in and out movement, that's gonna be normal. But on this particular movement, we're trying to build stability and kind of correct some of those imbalances or notice if there are any. Perhaps if you're someone that's really trending towards the midline, you have some tightness in your hips or some weakness in your glutes. And if you're trending outward, well, that would be the opposite. You're probably having some tightness here and some weakness here. Good. Go ahead and stand up. And that one just wakes up those quads, doesn't it? Yeah, Erik already ran 8 miles on hills today, so he's like, yes, I can already feel those. All right, let's try the other side. So just a single leg trunk squat hold.
This is what I asked Becca for help for, is just on balance, because this is my biggest weakness as a runner is balance sucks, posture and hip mobility is just not good for me. So I feel like this is helping everything, and I have a long way to go, as you can probably tell, with balance.
Can you feel a difference from the right to the left side too, Erik? I can kind of see that it's probably a little more tender for you.
Yeah. I think part is stronger. I used to have right hip problems, but I'm a right footer, right hander, so right is stronger.
Good. Go ahead and stand up. And this will lead us really well into our next movement screen. So our first movement screen was the circ balance. This one's going to be the overhead squat. So now that Erik's good and warmed up, I feel like he's at a good point where we can see this. All he's going to do, feet under the shoulders. You can slightly turn out maybe 10 degrees. Arms up like a Y. Inhale, take a deep breath. Go into as deep of a squat as you can. My butt's hitting my treadmill here. And then stand back up. And your goal is to keep your thumbs just, I say in line with my ponytail, but you want to keep your thumbs back as far as you can. Okay, and this is specifically looking at posture, yep. Good, so I can see here it's mostly posture related for you there. It's more in your trunk than in your, and your hips have a part to play that too, but let's do 5 in a row and just keep those thumbs back and that chest tall. Inhale through the nose. Here we go, down for 1. Better, but now the heels are elevated, so try to keep those heels down. That's okay, that's 1. That's why we do it. Good, that's 2, but those thumbs really drifted forward there, which is fine. Cueing isn't gonna fix this, the mobility after will. There's number 3. That's okay, I'm gonna take so many screenshots after this. That's 4. Okay, 1 more. Number 5. And that's a great one for Erik to work on his posture and come back in 3 months and be like, wow, I'm better at the overhead squat. So for me, that was really indicative of your posture on that one personally, Erik. So we're gonna bring it to core stability next, rotary core. So hop on down to the floor with me. We're gonna do what's called it's really called a bird dog. You can do this a few ways. You can try this, same arm, same leg, and this is nearly impossible to do. You're gonna keep your hand in line with your knee and then touch your opposite elbow to me. And I'm doing this, but I'm leaning to the side a bit, so it's not really a perfect score. But this is the hardest variation. There you go. Try to do 3 per side without losing balance and without over leaning to the side like me. Good. Yeah, not bad at all. And once you do 3 without losing balance, try the other side. This is just the most advanced version.
And is that something that, so you guys are moving to stage?
How's that feel, Erik?
It's good. A little easier than the squats.
Yeah. Good. Now, that's great for a movement screen. And if you weren't able to do that, the step down from that is to do opposite arm to knee. And that's an exercise I call bird dog. Most people know of that name. But that's a great one to do as an actual exercise. So they kind of measure core stability. And to improve your core stability, you can continue doing the same side when we were doing. That's pretty advanced. But to do a longer set, you might try this option. So instead of doing same arm, same leg, you can try left arm out, right leg out. and then just touch right there in the middle. And your goal here is hip extension, which is important for runners to keep those hips long, like Erik was talking about. So opposite knee to elbow, yep. Touch the knee to elbow, perfect, and then lengthen back out again. Yep, and you should be able to feel those glutes working there. Good, and we're just gonna aim to do about 10 to 12 per side.
Okay.
Good. Inhale as you stretch out, exhale as you touch the knee to the elbow. And this one I would say is pretty run specific. We're kind of doing a running movement horizontally, if you will.
So hard to like stand.
That knee to opposite shoulder ability and awareness is important for athletes. Let's do 2 more and then switch sides. All right, good, let's switch sides there. Same thing though. Good time to get the breathing down. Inhale as you stretch out. Exhale as you touch the knee to elbow. Good time to think about breath awareness, something we don't always pay attention to when we're training hard, or maybe we do.
I just have to do something and I kind of run like this reality.
2 more. Good. All right. And now I'd like to see how your shoulder mobility looks, which I got a little bit of an idea from looking at your spine in a squat. And most people don't really realize how much your spine and your spinal mobility has to do with your squat technique. A lot of athletes just look at a squat and say, oh, if you got below parallel, then that's a good squat. But your spine, specifically your T-spine, has a lot to do with how well you squat. So while this particular exercise deals more with the shoulder joint, looking at your squat on that overhead assessment, I can tell there's some postural and perhaps shoulder work to do, because as lower body based athletes, sometimes we forget about everything from here up. You know what I mean? As runners, it's like, well, if it doesn't have to do with my running specifically, I don't want to pay attention to it. We're all guilty of that. So all we're going to do is make a fist with our hands and then try to touch those fists as close as we can together.
Yep.
And our goal is that they are within, yep, I know. Go ahead, and I'm just gonna see if they're within a hand's length. Not, yep. So on the left side, it doesn't, with his hands out, yes, maybe, but unless you're a 60 or older, you don't get that version. Good, okay, switch sides, Erik. So I'd score you a 2 out of 3 on that one. Go ahead and switch, and this side I anticipated being a little bit better. His right hand on top looks a little bit better. There you go. See, if he was 60, he would have cleared that for a full score, but. So you're a little bit better with your right arm, Erik. So there's a little discrepancy in your shoulder mobility, but that's all right. So we're gonna do one specific, do you golf?
No, my brother golfs. I don't.
Okay, I thought I'd see some. So for specifically now for spine mobility, one of the best of them, I don't know how much yoga you do, Erik, but it's cat-cow breathing, and I like to do that within my warm-up or cool down somewhere. So we'll finish out our kind of mobility, movement screen, flexibility kind of shenanigans with this movement right here. So we'll do some cat-cow breathing, and I want to take a look at your spine here, Erik, and see how much mobility you have. So just do this facing the side so we can watch how much your spine moves. All you're going to do is inhale, tuck your tailbone, round out for cat. Exhale, scoop out that lower back, lift the chin for cow. So we'll do a few rounds of that. Inhale for cat, exhale for cow. Perfect. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Big movements. Inhale, really stretch out that spine, tuck the tailbone, and exhale. Let's do 2 more. Mobilize that spine. And last one. Inhale and exhale. Very good. All right, and so now we'll just kind of work in just a ton of movements for you, Erik, here. Give you tons of variety. We're gonna start with one of my favorites, which incorporates a little bit of flexibility in core, which is perfect for you. A single leg down dog to a mountain climber. So I'm just gonna put my hands on a mat. You can do this on the floor if you'd like, but you're gonna start in a downward dog position with your heel on the floor. That's where you'll get the stretch. And then you're gonna exhale and drop into a mountain climber and really squeeze your core. Yep, so here's the flexibility. That's where we're gonna take a deep breath in. Then you're gonna exhale and drive, tightening your core. Yep, inhale, stretch, exhale, squeeze your core. Yep, inhale, stretch, really get that hamstring stretched out. Exhale, come in. Push that heel into the floor. Good, exhale, squeeze. 5 more. Inhale, exhale. 4 more. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Really push those arms back as you inhale and exhale. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Let's go right to the other side. Hopefully you feel that calf stretch. That's what I really like about these ones. All right, heel down, leg up, straight leg, inhale, and exhale, squeeze the core. Try to point those toes if you can. Pretend you're a sprinter. Inhale, exhale. Good, push and pull. Exhale, good. Inhale, and big exhale. Breathe in, stretch, breathe out, squeeze. Push, exhale, yep, good. Bring it in. 3 more. Big stretch out, big stretch in. 2 more. Big stretch out, big stretch in. Last one, big stretch out, and in. Go ahead and come on back to down dog. And let's just pedal the feet out, try to get those calves a little stretched. A little bit of flexibility. Nice for your shoulders to get a little stretch here as well. Pedal it out, pedal it out. Only gonna do 1 set of those, so just...
Thank God.
Yep, good. All right, go ahead and stand up. And we're gonna do a little combination. Something that runners don't get a lot of is cross-planar work, which means going side to side and rotation. So what we're gonna do is a side lunge where we rotate at the outside. Then we'll step together and do a single leg. Whoop, I'm gonna kick my treadmill. Single leg reach. So there's a lot going on. Side lunge twist to a single leg reach. Cross body.
So it's like this is the correct side, correct?
So yeah, you're gonna reach down with the opposite hand.
Okay.
Like so. Yep. Perfect. So side lunge twist, single leg reach. Boom. And it doesn't really matter which hand you reach down with. At the end of the day, it's good to do same side and opposite side. You know what I mean? I'm not too big of a stickler on those rules. Side lunge twist. Good. And that should just feel really good. You could add, say, a med ball into this if you wanted to. But since we're really focused on rejuvenation and just big movements, big range of motion, I don't want to hinder that today with weight. So, very good. And in general, when you're working for endurance, you want 10 to 12 repetitions, maybe 12 to 20 if you're doing some core work. That's just general though. Let's do 2 more of these, Eric. It's looking really good. Good one for your hips. Big stretch there and a reach. Good. All right, let's try the other way now.
Okay.
So let your brain to adjust the other side, yep. And then reach down. Woo. Really squeeze that core, knit those abs together when you reach. Big stretch, good. And then a reach.
Oh, I'm falling.
Yeah, and if your muscles are tight, that single leg reach really feels more like a stretch than a strength move almost. Just feeling those muscles snap, crackle, pop.
My left knee that's sore now from like hill running and
Yeah.
little kicks from my last day.
All right, we're gonna do 2 more here.
Nice job, nice job.
1 more. Good. All right, and we're gonna do an upper body exercise now just to show the bodybuilding world we haven't forgotten what it's like to lift with our arms. So we're gonna do a single arm overhead press on 1 leg. because Eric, when you run, and I'm just using an 8-pound weight, but you could use more. You're probably a little stronger, maybe a 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably good. 12 to 15. If you run, Eric, how many legs are you on when you run? If you're running really well, 1 or 2.
What's that?
When you run, how many legs are you on when you're running? When you're pushing off the ground?
Is that a trick question? Is it 2?
It's 1. You're right. I know you wanted to say 1. It's both legs. You're only ever on 1 leg when you run.
Right.
Anytime you do a single leg exercise, it's applicable to running in some stretch of the mind. So you're going to balance on 1 leg, but press with the other side. So it's cross body, and we're just going to do an overhead press. 12 of them. Yep. And you can have overhand or neutral grip. To me, that doesn't matter today. Good. There's 4. Try to exhale as you push up. That's the only thing I want you to think about. Yep. 6. Try to get your bicep to your ear. Don't push forward, push straight up. Yep. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Good. Let's switch sides there. Same thing. And push up. I would say this is probably a 50% effort, 50 to 60% effort. Which is good because when we run, we're working sometimes at 100 to 110% effort. So in the weight room, we can make it a little easier.
Oh no.
Jinxed you. 4 more. Push. Try to get your core involved. That's where we often lose balance, is our core. It doesn't sound like it, but it's true. 2 more. Squeeze that core. Use your breathing to help with that. 1 more. Well, we're going to do those again later because Eric struggled with them, so we'll keep that weight nearby. Hop on down to the floor. Really similar to our isometric trunk hold, we're going to do an isometric hamstring hold. So hop on down to the ground. And actually, if you have your weight bench nearby, Eric, I'm going to really make your hamstrings sing. We're going to do it on a bench to make it harder.
Oh, okay.
So 1 foot on the bench, knee at 90 degrees. The other foot goes straight up. And we're just gonna press up and hold for 30 seconds. But you want your knee at 90 degrees. So slide closer to the bench.
So what?
So slide closer to your bench. Because you want your left knee at 90 degrees and your foot can just go right there on the edge of the bench. So slide your left heel towards the edge of the bench. Right on the edge, right there, but then bring your butt back. So watch here.
Got it.
90 degree, push up. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. Now really drive those hips up. Push them up, way up. There you go. I used to be a cheerleader for a few years, so. And if you want to add some ankle mobility in just to kind of pass the time while your hamstrings are screaming at you, I like to do some point and flexes. I also like to keep my heel that's on the bench flexed because I feel like that's giving me a little bit of stamina, but you can do whatever you want there. Squeeze your abs together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. 15 seconds. And this will help you for sure at Phoenix because that's all kind of going downhill and it really hurts the backs of the legs. Or maybe you feel it more in the front, who knows?
That sucks.
Yeah, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. We're just gonna switch sides there. And go right into it. Press up and hold. Think about knitting your abdominals together. So just like you're zipping your core up. Point and flex the top foot if you like. Just to add a little something for your brain. I know I like distractions more than anything when I'm doing an endurance or balance set. 10 seconds to go. And then we're gonna hit those shoulder presses again, Eric. 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good. And the reason those are so important is because it's easy to do things like lunges and squats, but really we need to make sure we're taking care of the back sides of our body as much as the front. Otherwise we're going to be very quad dominant and we're going to get hurt. You know what I mean? So, all right, let's do those shoulder presses again. And just to throw one for the loop, Eric, last time we did opposite arm. This time I want to do same side. Just because that it's called contralateral and ipsilateral loading. It's a fancy way of saying we need to do both. You know what I mean? So now we'll go same arm, same leg. So if the weight's on the right, balance on your right leg, just for some variety. Yep, and let's punch. Exhale as you punch up and just squeeze that core. Focus on your core more than anything. Inhaling through your nose and out through your mouth can help with your posture and your balance. Runner number 5, going to 12. 6, 7. Remember, bicep to ear, pushing straight overhead, not forwards or backwards. Push, pull. 2 more. Exhale, inhale. 1 more. It's all right. Good. Switch sides.
Yeah, I'm weak on that one. Weak.
I blame your tired muscles from your run this morning. I'll help you out there. I'll give you a scapegoat. All right, here we go. Push up and down. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Push and pull. It's all about finding ways to relax under tension. Good. There you go. Breathing.
On that, the worst thing that you could possibly do is not doing strength for 3 months during marathon training, and that's almost what I did.
You're redeeming yourself today.
I'm redeeming myself. This awesome.
1 more. Good. All right. Let's take it back down to our hip extension exercise. And this is really setting us up for some deadlifts that we have coming up. And those are going to be kind of our hardest thing that we're going to work on today. That's our key lift for today, if you will, is some of that good stuff. So we're going to do this just the same thing again. I'm just a big fan of repetition. So let's just do that same 30 seconds. If you want to add that ankle mobility in, that's always just a fun little trick. Here we go. Push up. If you want to put your hands even on your diaphragm, sometimes I like to do a good diaphragm belly breathing. Inhale through your nose all the way into your belly and out through your mouth. So if you struggle with posture, Eric, that's a free tip. I did a continuing education course on posture. And I said, what's one easy way to work on it is just breathing in through your nose, even if you're sitting at your computer working.
Really?
Yeah. It's actually a fun trick to try. Try having bad posture and breathing through your nose. It's like almost impossible. It's good. Switch sides right there. Same thing, right into it. Push straight up, point and flex. Makes me think of Stranger Things. Mouth breather.
Yeah.
10 seconds. It helps me when I'm doing like really hard threshold workouts too. I always feel like if I breathe deeply in through my nose, I feel like I have control a little bit more. Good. Relax. How'd that one feel?
Good. Better than the first.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good one to work on balance too, because you're, on one leg and it works endurance in your muscles. So it's a good, kind of a good baseline one to do with the point that you're at in your season. So I want you to grab some heavy weight, something that you can deadlift for 12 repetitions that won't kill you tomorrow on your long run, but that you'll probably feel a little bit in the first few miles. You're the only person I think I can use that kind of description with.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. Tomorrow's a shorter long run for me too, so it'll be fun.
That's nice, yeah. So I'm gonna go with 40 pounds total. I'm gonna hold 2 20-pound dumbbells.
What did I do? 40 each? Okay.
Was that?
40 each, you think?
If you can go to 12 that much, if you can go 12 reps, that's fine. We're gonna do 3 rounds of this, bad boys.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. I don't know. I'm gonna just try 35.
Yeah. 35 in each hand.
Yeah, we'll see.
That should be good. I'll watch your form. You can always go down. All right, we're gonna have our dumbbells overhand grip. We're gonna have our feet right under our shoulders and pointing straight ahead, okay? We're gonna take a deep breath in with our shoulders rolled back, so in through our nose. Roll those shoulders back so you have a big proud chest. Hinge at your hip and slide those weights right down so they're somewhere between your ankle and knee with a perfectly flat back. Keep those weights overhand. Good. Exhale, stand all the way up, squeezing your glutes, crushing the walnut in your glutes. Yep. Inhale, slide the weights down. Exhale, stand tall. Yep. Inhale down. Exhale, squeeze. Good. Yep. Crush that walnut. Yep. You should feel like you're standing up into a plank position at the top. Yep. Perfect. Here's our halfway point. So it should feel challenging but doable. And you're just going right above the ankles. No need to go any lower than the ankles. 4 more. 3 more. Stretching the hamstrings, squeezing the glutes. Good. Just 1 more for me. Good. All right, set those weights to the side. And we're just gonna do a little bit of core in between. We're gonna do a side plank with an overhead reach. And we're just gonna pull the top hand to our top knee. Yep, and we're gonna do 10 aside. Yep, so we're gonna do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Other side. As a swimmer, I like this one, but also as a runner, because you get that knee drive kind of feeling, and I always like tying that in.
Oh, planks are great.
Yeah. All right, overhead reach. And then just pull that top knee to the top elbow. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's it. And we're gonna go right back to our deadlifts. It's only a total of a minute off, but we were also doing core in that minute. So again, you can tell it's definitely an endurance focused type of layout. 12 reps again. First 6 I'll do with you, and then the last 6 I'm gonna watch your technique. Here we go. Inhale down, exhale up. That's 1. Good. 2. 3. This will be our halfway point here. Good. 1 more. Good. So there's one thing here, and we're just gonna use this time to rest instead of doing core in between.
Okay.
When we're doing deadlifts versus a squat, the lines get confused really easy. So think of it in terms of what your hips do. So in a squat, your hips are trying to get eventually below your knee joint, and you're pushing weight up. And in the deadlift, your hips are going shoulders, hips, knees. Does that make sense? So that you're in a deadlift, unless you're a power lifter competing, that's a sub-clause. Okay. This is kind of the position we want to be in. So that's the hips back and loaded, standing tall, pulling weight up, versus a squat where you're sitting low and up. So think a little bit more of, and this is why I like to have an overhand grip, or use a hex bar if you're at a gym, because it forces your hips into the right position. So if you're overhand, you're sliding the weights down. This, for a dumbbell deadlift, this is about fine. Any lower, and your hips are gonna force to kind of butt link down. Do you feel that right here? And that's where your lower back is gonna catch it instead of your hamstrings and glutes. So on this last set, think more like your butt's trying to hit the wall behind you instead of the floor in a squat, okay? So let's do one more set at 12. Keep your hands overhand. Aim for just above your ankles and really stretch your hamstrings. Feel your hamstrings, okay? All right.
Overhand like this way, right? Not
Yep.
to the side.
Yep, overhand. Yep, you got it. So the way you had it was actually neutral grip. So you've got underhand, neutral, and then overhand.
Okay, got it.
Let's go overhand this round, see how they look. Bring it up. Good. Hinge at the hips right there. Yep, keep the hips a little higher. Really stretch the hamstrings now. Push those hips right there. Yep. Stretch those hips there, right there. Yep. Feel any different? Inhale, exhale. Yep. Push those hips back towards that back wall. Good. Yep, there you go. Shoulders, then hips, then knees. Yep. You want to make a triangle with your joints. Right there. Yep. 4 more. Right there. Good. Right there. 2 more. There you go. 1 more. Good. How'd that last set feel compared to the first 2?
It's good, but I don't feel strong enough still, so I mean.
That's okay. That's why you do that. In 3 sets of 12, it's just baseline stuff. You know what I mean? And It's not that the first that you're doing was necessarily wrong. It's my preference for deadlifts is just really nailing those hamstrings. Anytime that, and that's all the angle does. Is like a stiff leg deadlift, like one like this. That's like an RDL. That's really gonna get your hamstrings. A regular deadlift, like so here, that's still gonna be, mostly hamstring and glute dominant. A squat, even a suitcase squat where you're squatting like so, really dropping the hips down, that's going to be a little bit more quad dominant. And we're really working on that hip extension type movement. So that's why I put those ones in. Let's do with a very lightweight push up to a rotation reach. So grab like for you, probably a 10 to a 15 pound weight. I'm going to use an 8.
Okay.
And we're just going to do 2 sets of 12 total here. And then we'll do a banded dead bug in between. So grab your TheraBand and just lay it nearby you. So a little core and upper body here as we start to wind down a little bit. And that was your main set. So that should have felt like the hardest thing you've done so far today.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So we'll do a push up to a rotation. So I like to do it with my hand on the weight, push up, roll into a side plank and punch up, and then you can transfer it to your other hand, like so.
Wow. Okay.
That way, if you put it down, you can just shift it right to your other hand. But you can do this one several ways. So 12 total repetitions, and then we'll put the band on. 6 is fine. Here we go. Rotate, punch, push up, rotate, punch. There's 2. That rotation is really the big takeaway for you. Plus you're getting a little bit of a pull. Love a good push-pull. I got 1 more on each side here on my end. Good. Yay, good. All right, then we'll put the band on. This one I was actually the most excited to show you today. A banded dead bug. I'm not sure if you've ever done these before.
Nope.
So, what you'll do is put the band on right around your toes. And you're gonna have your arms straight up, push the band out, push into the band as you lower that same arm down. Let's see how that goes. Ready? Yeah, arms go straight up. Okay, and then you're gonna lower the left leg, you're gonna push into the band and extend the left leg as you lower your left arm down. Yep. And then the other side. If it helps, I'll show you from the front. There's 1, 2. It's actually quite difficult.
It is.
It definitely requires strong hips. And I still have my favorite hip mobility one to show you. One more on each side. Really, you don't need too many of these. Good. And that's good for core and coordination. It's one of the foundational core exercises. Good for your core stability, good for your coordination, hip extension. It's not like a sit-up where you're tightening those hip flexors up even more. I like to use the band because it helps activate my glutes and makes it a little harder. Let's do 1 more set of the push-ups and the dead bugs, and then I've got 2 really good hip exercises that we can finish it out with. All right, push-ups to a T-raise. Here we go. 12 total. Another way to do this would be 6 on one side and then switch the weight. It's really personal preference. I don't know why. I like to switch every time. It just makes my brain work a little bit. I like variety. I like to play tricks on my brain.
Zombie run, right?
Yeah. That's one thing I think endurance athletes excel at is just spending time moving is really hard. and really boring a lot of the times. Like 85% of the time, really boring. 15% of the time, you feel like you're king of the world.
You're gonna look back on this and see that my push-ups suck.
Oh no!
Oops.
Oops.
I'm trying.
Okay, I'm on my last one here.
Yep.
Good. All right, let's get those dead bugs one more time. I'll do the first half with you, and then I'll watch your technique just to make sure you can pull them down. These are good with a physio ball too. We can try that sometime too. We didn't even touch a physio ball, and it's one of my favorite things. So once I get going on a physio ball, there's like no turning back. I just can't get off the thing. So, all right, here we go. Left side, right side. Really good one to work on your breathing. Exhale as you extend, inhale, pull up. Yeah, you got the hang of it, except for your arm should come back to just over your shoulders. There you go. So extend, yep, there you go. Just makes the coordination piece a little bit more tricky. One more on each side. Last one. Perfect. All right, so let's have a little fun with hips. I know this is an area you specifically want to work on. So we'll do hip cars first. And a hip car, you can do shoulder and hip cars. You can do a lot of different types of cars, but it stands for controlled articular rotation. So your shoulder joint and your hip joints are ball and socket joints. So they're like Grand Central Station. Like there's the most movement that can go through them. They can rotate, they can go in and out, they can go up and down. Every plane of movement, they can do anything, you know? So because of that, they're at a higher risk for injuries. Usually you hear people talk about their hips and shoulders being injured, and then you hear about knees from there, right? So because of that, we want to prove to our brain that we have control of that joint. So a hip car or a shoulder car is a great way to do that. So it's about mobility, but it's also about control. So don't do this movement fast. Do it with control. So on all fours, you're going to extend your leg back, around, forward, and down. Back, around, forward, and down. Yeah, kind of like a fire hydrant, but also with it, you know, you're rotating away. I do a couple one direction and then I'll turn it the other direction so I get the internal rotation as well and all that. I usually do about 5 forward and then I'll go backwards. So I'll raise my knee up, rotate in and around, and bring it down. Up, around. Does that make sense, kind of reversing it?
Yep.
Good.
I like reverse.
I mean, really all you're doing is trying to get your hip to go in every angle and almost like exploit that movement. Like really get as big of a movement as you can out of it. And that should just kind of open up that joint. Let's try the other side. 5 forward, 5 backwards, kind of good rule of thumb there. Maybe 30 seconds each way. But I like it because it's not just one thing or another. It's improving control of a joint and awareness, which is really underrated.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, think about it, if you need to step up onto a curve to pass somebody in a race, you know, that's going to be awareness of your body in space. And there's only one way to train for that, you know, and that's to build your awareness.
When you're on your last curve and it's like you're at 13 miles and you have 0.1 left and you're kicking for the finish and you have to turn.
Yeah, or you're lapping somebody that's just doing the 5K. You're like, sorry that I'm in the elite field, but I gotta pass you here.
Exactly.
That's why I hate looped courses.
Or, you know, courses where the 5Kers and 10Kers are starting in front of you and you're that right behind.
Yes. Yeah, local races, they had the men's field go off before the women's field, so I had to swim into 60, 70-year-old men and then try to catch up with guys on the bike. It was a fun time. But hey, adversity is what makes us better, right? All right, so that's the hip car. That one's great to do before you run, but it's also a great way to finish a long run so your muscles don't just like start to tighten up like the cloth. My next favorite is the seated hip rotation. So you might have seen this in a lot of my videos. Yes, very good. And you can do it with your hands on the ground or your hands up. Yep, and it's just a great little hip opener. Yep. And there's ways to make this harder and easier too. So of course, we'll do some of that.
If I had a carpet, it'd be better, but.
Yeah, I know, it's an easy, look at I'm sliding forward too. So hold it on this side, hold it here. And what I want you to do is try to lift your back heel off the ground. Like that. Back heel, yep, just a little bit.
I literally can't do that.
So that's hip internal rotation is kind of causing that. So that's just a sign of weakness in that particular movement. And then you've got hip external rotation, which that one should maybe be a little bit easier for you. So try lifting your back knee up now. There you go, a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll do it even harder. Try lifting your front foot up. Really little, right? And you're lifting your knee. Try to push your knee down and lift up. It's like, it's barely gonna go, right?
Yeah, but I think it's easier than the back foot.
It's easier for you than the back foot?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's switch it around then. Let's try it here. There you go. Try to lift.
Yeah, I mean, barely.
And that's okay. All you need to do is just instigate that movement a little bit, you know what I mean? And it's weird because it's like this muscle right here is the one kind of causing that, and it just goes through your knee joint.
Yeah.
I mean,
how are you so good at that?
I practice it a lot. It's cheating because if you just practice it like once a week, you'll get better at it. All right, now the back knee, just open and close. I've got some really hypermobile swimmers that would blow you away with their ability to lift off with. It's crazy.
I'm sure.
And I don't claim to know it all. I don't know what specific muscles are in charge of what. I just have learned from great sport psychologists, or not sport, but sport movements, biomechanic doc, and they're into unique movements that are innervated at joints where you wouldn't think they would be. So one thing I picked up from them. All right, and then internal rotation up here. Again, this is one where I've always felt like you're going to be limited just anatomically. So just trying to stimulate it is just something you want to try to do. So just by thinking about it and getting a little movement, it's a win, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's amazing how just small movements matter though, really. It's just stimulating those neurons and those pathways. All right, let's do tripods. This is a great one. It's like a glute bridge, like what we were doing here, but it brings your core, your torso, and your shoulders into it. And since you need to work on shoulder mobility a little bit, it's a good jack of all trades for you. It's a nice one to energize you too. So one hand behind you, you're just kind of sitting with your feet in front of you. You're gonna reach up towards the ceiling. Yep, and then you'll switch sides. And you'll naturally rotate just by pushing your hands straight up. Really nice for your T-spine, or the spine, muscles right in the middle of your back there. I like to do about 10 to 12 of these. Like to inhale as I sit, exhale as I push up. It just feels energizing, kind of like that first move that we did, that downward dog to mountain climber that you loved so much. And these are all just exercises I've been doing a lot lately. There's just no limit to things that you could be doing that check the boxes for a runner. Good. I'll leave you here. Hop up. Let's just do this last one because it's really good for ankles. Probably should have started with this one, but just up on your tiptoes, a split lunge on your tiptoes for 15 seconds, just breathing. And actually, if you had 3-pound weights, this would be a good one to practice runner's arms with. Really, really lightweight so you could get the speed in. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. You know what I mean? Since it's kind of already in that split stance position, but it's good for ankle mobility, it's good for stability, and it's good for your quads. Lower down, both heels off the ground. I don't know how much you do like of big toe strength, but that's a whole other thing I've been getting into lately too. Because when you push off, your big toes is responsible for that. So I've got bunions, so I have to work on keeping my toes strong. Good. All right, I always end with a forward bend, almost always. So let's just stretch out our hamstrings a little bit. What was your favorite today?
All of them. No, but I actually really like the hip thrust on or the hamstring stretch on the bench.
Oh, good.
And the last, the root for the skyward one with that too.
Oh, good. Do it again if you liked. I wasn't trying to kill you today, so you should have a great run tomorrow. You should feel really
very challenging, and it was great. Thank you so much. You did awesome.
Of course. We'll do it again. We'll do part 2 again sometime down the line, and I'll be checking on that overhead squat to make sure your posture gets better. So, all right, I'll hop on to my next appointment, but I'll shoot you a text later. Eric, just thank you again for this. But we'll talk soon. Good job today. Bye.